Britain has a problem. Not diplomacy, not finance, not culture. No, something far more concrete. Taking world-class infrastructure and delivering it years late, massively over budget, or never. This is widely documented across National Audit Office reports and Infrastructure and Projects Authority data. And the reason, according to countless reports and experts, goes far deeper than bad planning. It is embedded in how Britain's infrastructure system operates. Other countries do it differently, and Britain struggles to replicate their approaches. If you are new here, feel free to subscribe. It genuinely makes a huge difference, and we can keep bringing you these deep dives. Let's start with the record. In this country, mega projects experience delays and cost overruns with notable consistency. Initial cost estimates for the full Y-shaped HS2 network to Manchester and Leeds in 2010 were around £32 to £33 billion. By 2015, the estimate had risen to £55.7 billion. By 2019, it was £72 billion. As of December 2024, the estimate was £54 to £66 billion in 2019 prices, which analysts say translates to over £100 billion in 2025 prices. Mark Wilde, the HS2 chief executive, wrote to the Transport Secretary in March 2025, saying the organisation had failed in its mission to control costs and deliver to schedule. By earned value measures, he reported the project to be approximately one-third complete, compared with planned progress of 3/4 at this stage. As of mid-2025, estimates suggest the opening could slip into the late 2030s, although no formal revised timeline has been confirmed. In October 2023, the government cancelled the Manchester leg. The Leeds extension had already been dropped in 2021. Billions of pounds spent on preparation work for the cancelled sections, including land purchases and design work, no longer contribute to the reduced project scope. The remaining London to Birmingham section continues to face significant challenges. Wilde announced a comprehensive review of the entire project, saying it may take until mid-2026 to establish what he called an assured, contractualized baseline. He noted that external factors, including the COVID-19 pandemic, Brexit, and the Russian invasion of Ukraine, had contributed to difficulties. He suggested the primary problems were systemic: construction starting too soon before stable designs were ready, contracting models that placed excessive risk on AHS2 Limited, and delivery structures that did not enable effective management. Or look at Crossrail, now the Elizabeth Line. Planned opening, December 2018. The actual central section opening was May 2022, more than 3 years late. Full services with the final timetable commenced in May 2023. Final cost was £18.8 to £18.9 billion. While the 2010 baseline was £14.8 billion, these figures are not directly comparable because of scope changes and different assumptions about inflation and risk. According to the NAO report in 2019, software integration between trains and signalling systems caused extended delays. Coordination across multiple contractors presented challenges beyond initial projections. Since opening, ridership has been strong, with 243 million passengers in the fiscal year ending March 2025, exceeding initial post-COVID projections. The line received the RIBA Sterling Prize in 2024, or Rail Electrification. In July 2012, the government announced £4.2 billion of electrification schemes, including the Trans-Pennine Route and the Midland Main Line. By June 2015, several schemes were paused due to cost increases. In July 2017, Secretary of State Chris Grayling cancelled major schemes. These included the Midland Main Line between Kettering and Sheffield, Cardiff to Swansea, and Windermere to Oxenholme. As of mid-2025, reports indicated the scheme had been paused again following the spending review, with no resumption date specified. This represented the scheme's second major pause after previous stops in 2015 and 2017. Hospitals, road upgrades, numerous schemes have been reduced in scope, delayed or cancelled. The pattern repeats across sectors. Large, complex infrastructure projects in Britain frequently experience significant delays and cost escalation. Though it's worth noting, not all UK infrastructure faces these challenges. The 2012 London Olympics infrastructure was delivered on time and on budget, and some road schemes have succeeded. The issues appear particularly acute in large rail projects. To understand why, the context matters. The UK is one of the wealthiest and most urbanised nations in the world. It has significant engineering expertise and financial resources. It is also physically compact. At 243,000 square kilometres with 68 million people, it has a population density of approximately 280 people per square kilometre, higher than France or the United States, though lower than the Netherlands or South Korea. That density creates specific challenges: more stakeholders per kilometre of infrastructure, more existing assets to work around, and more competing land uses to navigate. Major infrastructure schemes must navigate local objections, planning reviews, legal challenges, environmental assessments, and multiple rounds of consultation. Projects designated as nationally significant can still face substantial delays through these processes. Data from the Infrastructure and Projects Authority indicated that the average consenting time for nationally significant infrastructure projects rose from 2.6 years in 2012 to 4.2 years in 2021. Planning processes represent a significant portion of project timelines, but procedural complexity is only one factor. Delivery structures matter too. In the 1990s, the UK restructured its national industries, particularly in transport. British Rail was privatised between 1994 and 1997. A single integrated railway operator became multiple separate organisations: train operating companies, infrastructure managers, maintenance contractors, and various tiers of subcontractors. While infrastructure returned to public ownership in 2002 under Network Rail, the fragmented delivery structure has largely remained. Large projects now involve numerous independent organisations, and the National Audit Office suggests this fragmentation creates coordination challenges. Infrastructure delivery shifted toward a model often termed new public management, with government as client and private firms as delivery partners. In principle, this structure aims to bring commercial discipline and innovation. National Audit Office reports have noted, however, that the UK faced challenges in developing the oversight capabilities required to manage such complexity effectively. This pattern appears in both Crossrail and HS2. For Crossrail, the National Audit Office documented that different stations were delivered by different contractors, creating coordination challenges. For HS2, Wild identified in March 2025 that construction started too soon before stable and consented designs were available, and that contractual structures effectively turned the contracts into cost-plus arrangements. He noted these arrangements incentivized the prioritization of short-term schedule over managing overall cost. These cases are often cited as examples of the challenges inherent in complex, multi-party delivery structures. Projects of high technical ambition meet significant complexity in delivery. International comparisons provide useful context. Japan has maintained long-term infrastructure planning bodies with substantial continuity across political cycles. Spain expanded its high-speed rail network from minimal coverage in the 1990s to over 3,000 kilometers by the second decade of the 21st century, though this involved different conditions, including substantial EU funding, less dense terrain, and resulted in some routes with lower than projected ridership. International studies suggest that countries with longer-term, cross-party infrastructure commitments tend to experience fewer major project cancellations following government changes. However, infrastructure delivery challenges are not uniquely British. Germany's Stuttgart 21 railway project faces years of delay and cost overruns, and California's high-speed rail program has seen costs escalate from $33 billion to over $100 billion. The challenges in the United Kingdom exist within a broader pattern affecting many wealthy democracies. Analyses by the National Infrastructure Commission and the National Audit Office frequently note that political cycles contribute to project instability in Britain. Local authorities have statutory powers that can cause delays in nationally designated projects. Parliamentary representatives can shift positions on schemes when local opposition emerges. Public inquiries can last for years. These processes occur in a densely populated country where centuries-old urban patterns and protected landscapes constrain physical development. This can create a familiar tension between infrastructure expansion and local concerns. The economic implications are measurable. Economists note that delays may carry opportunity costs beyond direct financial overruns. Transport economists and bodies such as the NIC have documented that delayed transport infrastructure postpones potential productivity benefits to the economy. Some analysts suggest cancelled housing-enabling infrastructure may contribute to supply constraints, and repeated project modifications or cancellations can affect investor confidence in UK infrastructure programmes. Reports suggest that departments managing cost overruns redirect funds from other planned expenditure. Recent political developments show awareness of these challenges. The Labour government, which took office in July 2024, has announced proposed structural reforms. These include a planning and infrastructure bill to modify consenting processes, a new National Infrastructure and Service Transformation Authority, and a 10-year infrastructure strategy outlining £725 billion in infrastructure investment over 10 years, including both new commitments and existing projects. Modified fiscal rules announced in the October 2024 autumn budget are intended to increase capital investment capacity. However, delivery challenges persist, according to recent public reporting. Following the spending review, the government announced in July 2025 that Midland Mainline electrification would be paused indefinitely. HS2 requires comprehensive restructuring under new leadership. Addressing Britain's infrastructure delivery challenges would require several elements. Delivery bodies with sustained accountability and authority from conception through completion, with consistent leadership and reduced ministerial intervention. Political commitments that extend beyond single parliamentary terms and that provide long-term certainty. Standardized technical approaches for recurring elements such as station designs or tunnel specifications that allow teams to develop expertise through repetition while maintaining flexibility for site-specific requirements. Reformed consenting frameworks that better balance local concerns with the delivery timelines needed for nationally significant infrastructure, building on existing legislation such as the Planning Act 2008. Cost estimation methodologies that provide realistic baselines with appropriate risk provisions from project initiation. Workforce development that creates sustained pipelines of specialists rather than boom-bust recruitment cycles. Britain built extensive railway networks in the Victorian era that reshaped domestic connectivity and influenced global railway development. Today, delivering a single new cross-London railway line on the originally planned schedule and budget has proved challenging. Context matters for historical comparisons. Victorian railway construction operated through private capital, minimal safety regulation, limited environmental requirements, no democratic consultation processes, and extensive use of compulsory purchase powers. Many Victorian railway companies also experience financial failure. Many observers frame the debate around whether current reforms can create sustained improvement or whether long-standing challenges will persist. Multiple factors contribute: institutional structures, political cycles, regulatory frameworks, delivery fragmentation, and the constraints of building in a densely populated, historically developed nation. The question is whether current reforms can create sustained improvement in delivery outcomes, or whether major projects will continue experiencing the delay and cost patterns evident over recent decades. HS2, if current estimates hold, may open in the late 2030s. High-speed rail proposals for Britain date to the early 2000s, with formal HS2 planning beginning around 2009 to 2010, meaning delivery could occur some 3 to 4 decades after initial conception. For deep dives into the curious enigma that is Britain, subscribe.